One Piece, 10 characters fans forgot showed up again way later. In Eiichiro Oda's One Piece, a character is never truly forgotten. Here are 10 pirates marines that made a surprising comeback in the manga anime. One Piece has to have one of the most expansive settings out there, with characters to remember on every single island and thousands of details to take in per arc. There's an absurdly large cast that has been built up over its almost 1,000 chapters, and all of them surprisingly have a role to play. Author Eiichiro Oda has an unmistakable talent for bringing characters back hundreds of chapters after they were introduced and revealing that they were important to the story all along. So, let's look at some of the best examples of this and why. 10. Black Drum Kingdom's King, Wapol. Wapol is a great example of this occurrence, as the man was defeated by Luffy before the Straw Hats even entered the Grand Line. Luffy sent the wielder of the Baku Baku no Mi flying and immediately forgot about him. But, turns out, Wapol has this whole adventure covered primarily in One Piece's famous cover stories. It includes Wapol wandering around and eating everything in sight, getting arrested, becoming a bum, selling combined toys on the street thanks to his devil fruit, accidentally creating Wapametal, and becoming the king of a new island. This same Wapametal has had lasting impacts on the One Piece world, as fans have speculated that the Pacifista are made from it, as is General Frankie. 9. Koby Helmeppo. Koby appeared in the very first chapter of One Piece, only to come back after the events of Water 7 looking like a whole new person. More than anyone else in the series, Koby has changed in both appearance and power since his first introduction. He's become like a superhero marine and in no way looks like the weak yet brave kid he was back when Luffy first met him. Similarly, Helmeppo, the son of Marine Captain Axehand Morgan, used to act like a spoiled rich kid. But, after Luffy set him straight and Garp took both him and Koby in, Helmeppo became a completely different man. Nowadays, Helmeppo is more of a marine now than his father ever was. 8. Charlotte Lola of the Rolling Pirates. Lola and her crew were a welcome surprise at the end of Thriller Bark, one of the spookiest arcs. They were captured by Gecko Moria and had their shadows stolen. And it would be years before the crew would be freed by Nami and the Straw Hats. Nami and Lola quickly became like sisters in the aftermath, with the latter even handing the navigator a piece of Big Mom's Vivre card. Then, the Rolling Pirates sailed off, likely never to be seen again, or so fans thought. Lola shows up in a ton of cover stories where fans can see her at the bar in Water 7, in Dressrosa, and hanging around with Capone Beej and her sister Chiffon. Lola is unique because while she does not seem important at first, her connection to Big Mom and Pound Another Man with the Will of D implies she has a stake in the story overall. 7. King Sterry, adopted brother of Sabo. Sabo is a character introduced after One Piece's time skip and has some serious ties to the Straw Hats and Luffy in general. During Sabo's backstory, fans find out that he's a noble even if he doesn't want to be. During the time he returns home in order to keep Luffy and Ace safe, Sabo meets his new adopted brother Sterry, who is much more like the noble's OP fans have come to know. Turns out, after the time skip, Sterry became the king of the Goa Kingdom, Luffy's home island, and is now participating in the Leveille. This guy never needed to come back, but Oda just loves to keep characters relevant. 6. The Calm Belt Sea Kings. Early on in One Piece's story, before they ever enter the Grand Line, the Straw Hat crew happen to find themselves in the Calm Belt. And, in this scene, audiences understand why it's so dangerous, as it's full to the brim with deadly sea kings. But, how many fans knew that most of the Sea Kings pictured above are actually the same ones who helped save the Noah with Shirahoshi and Luffy during the Fishman Island arc? That's over 500 chapters later. By the way, at most, it's likely just a neat little Easter egg, but it's cool that Oda even makes sure that memorable monsters reappear in the story in some way. 5. Daz, Mr. One, Bones. Mr. One the Bounty Hunter, better known as Daz Bones, is probably the most intimidating character with a unibrow ever. He's the only bounty hunter in the series with a devil fruit ability. Is part of one of Zoro's best fights, and has a shockingly strong power. Daz wields the Supa Supa fruit, so he can turn any part of his body into a blade. When Zoro learns to cut steel and surpasses Daz Bones, fans likely assumed it was the last time they were going to see Mr. One. However, lo and behold, he shows up again during the Impel Down arc. He even protects Luffy from Mihawk and other insane threats during the Marineford War. Crocodile showing back up was one thing, but Daz Bones was pretty out of the left field. 4. CP 9-foot leader, Spandam. For people who don't remember Spandam, he was the awe-inspiringly horrible leader of the CP9 who was messed up by Frankie in his youth and thwarted by the Straw Hat Pirates through the Enies Lobby arc. The guy is awful, but Spandam is basically untouchable thanks to his father Spandine, and he managed to pass all the blame from the Buster Call incident to the CP9 agents. In response, Rob Lucci called him and said that he'll get him back for that. Now, years later, during the Dressrosa arc, Lucci is a part of a new organization, CP0, and Spandam is his subordinate. Apparently, Lucci followed through. 3. Ex-Shichibukai, Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria is a character that keeps popping up in One Piece. He was a powerful Shichibukai who was introduced rather early on, with the biggest ship out of anyone and an army of zombies at his disposal. But, he's had a rough past with some other pirates that made him the lazy villain that he is. Before Luffy encountered Moria, long before in fact, Gecko's entire crew was destroyed by Kaido. And then, during the time skip, one of his most trusted crewmates Absalom is killed by Blackbeard. Moria was thought to have died during the Marineford War, but has now been kidnapped by a deceptively clever Blackbeard. It will be interesting to see where the Kage no Mi's owner ends up. 2. Django Full Body. The pair of Django and Full Body are characters from some of the earlier arcs of One Piece that routinely pop up now and again. Django was the right-hand man of Kuro, captain of the Black Cat Pirates, who attempted to take over Syrup Village. And, Full Body was a pompous marine lieutenant who was first seen arguing with young and naive Sanji on the Baratai. But, through a series of cover stories both of these jerks become fast friends through the power of dance and eventually join the crew of Black Cage, Hina, a shockingly powerful marine rear admiral. 1. The Fishman Karate Teacher, Koala. Koala is another character who had a huge impact on important characters like Arlong and Jim, but no one expected to see her return. Yet, here she is, working alongside Ace and Hack as an assistant Fishman karate instructor, reminding viewers that not everyone needs devil fruits to be strong. Koala was one of the slaves of Mary Geos at Fisher Tiger saved during his attack. Her backstory is a real tearjerker, and Koala's eerily fake smile is an incredibly off-putting sight still. It is great to see Koala again and in full control of her own actions and future.